Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Salutations to the prophets and beloved brothers. Continue to exhort the sheep in these last days. And a mighty shalom to all the listeners listening in. The title of this epistle is going to be entitled The Age of Esau versus the Age of Jacob. The beginning and an end of an age. The beginning and an end of an age. We're living in a particular time where we are going to witness and be a part of the downfall of this age and the total dissolution of it, and the resurrection and the reviving of a righteous age that will be brought in by the 12 tribes of Israel, headed by our Messiah, our Savior, Yahweh Shai, to establish the house of David and erect the Melchizedek priesthood, the regathering of the priests, the sons of the Most High Yahweh. So we'll ping pong back and forth through some scriptures to showcase the age of Esau and the ushering in of the age of Yaquab or Jacob of the 12 tribes of Israel, those that pertain to the diaspora, the scattered to the four corners, namely those that fall under the banner of the Deuteronomy chapter 28 curses, and the history to substantiate that, right? You have to have this history. So we'll start in St. John chapter 3 and verse 16, no less. It says, "For Yahweh so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." This world that was that our beloved Messiah had shed his precious blood for, it's not the world that we are living in as of right now. This current age was not the blood that was given to be shed for the remissions of the children of Israel's sins, for us to establish righteousness in this current world. But it's the doorway. That bloodshed, that precious bloodshed, is the atonement to be grafted back into the covenant for the new age. So it's like, in lack of better terms, you receiving a ticket for you to gain entry into the kingdom to come. How so? By washing your garments, separating yourselves from the customs and the mindset of this fallen world and this age, and being refreshed and renewed in the mind and spirit, putting on righteousness, observing the law, statutes, and commands, to be made ready for you to enter in the pearly gates of the new kingdom to come, established in righteousness and falling under the banner of the 12 tribes of Israel, and not Esau Edom. Esau Edom's age is on its way out. Esau Edom's age comes with the age of deception, mass lies, iniquity, unjust decrees and laws, false gods, many different types of gods. Here they call evil good and good evil. Everything is backwards. Apostasy. There's sickness and illness everywhere, from their drugs to and medicines, to the food, to the water. Everything is just it's chaos. And there's war, and Esau Edom is the curse of death. He's the grim reaper. He goes throughout the earth, destroying, killing, stealing, pillaging, and heaping up to himself all types of treasures on the world, and suppresses the poor. He is the oppressor. Esau Edom is. As to where Jacob is not. He's a simple man. He dwells in a tent, stays to himself, and establishes righteousness. Right? So that world that was atoned, that blood atonement was for the world to come, right? So we may have access back to the covenant and reestablish righteousness. Because in this current world here, as it excuse me, as it says in Job We're going to Job real quick. Job chapter 9. Job chapter 9 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Right now, the earth is being occupied by wickedness. These wicked rulers and their followers. They're just seeds of disobedience. So as the king, so is the mass of people, right? So the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, and if not, where and who is he? This is a particular person. We see from the garden and then to Rebecca's womb, and now we're in 2026 and nothing has changed. It has always been contention, war, strife, and he has always sought to extinguish and destroy his brother Jacob, right? Because Jacob means supplanted. And as we enter and usher in the new age before the onset of plagues to extinguish the world of sin and sinners, and to put those that have suppressed and oppressed the people into bondage. This is the transference of the age, right? So the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges, and this is predominantly shining some information on the age of when the faces of the when the faces of the judges were actually covered. And this is talking about the Renaissance period, you know, that 1,000-year age, that rebirth, when everything was changed. The image of the judges were changed. The defilement of the word was on the rise through the Roman Catholic churches, and being pushed on the people that they went around conquering and colonized. So that rebirth, that iconoclasm, is what took place up into this age. But we're going to destroy all those images through our scriptures and bring forth the history, to bring forth the age of Esau and shine light on it before we usher in the age of Jacob, right? Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs real quick. Proverbs chapter 29. Proverbs 29 and 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So we're not in an age of righteousness right now. You can see the uprising of the people. You can see the pushback of these marches, and all the wickedness is being exposed, and it's going to increase. So when the righteous are in authority, the people mourn. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. That's life. You know, everything's at peace. No more turning your swords into pruning hooks, but we'll be turning pruning hooks into, sorry, I got that backwards again. We'll be turning swords into pruning hooks. No more using as weapons. We're going back to a peaceful agricultural society. So when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. We are in Esau's age, you know, and the people are not happy. They're not rejoicing. So showing you the difference between Esau's age and coming into the age to come established in righteousness. We're going to go to Malachi real quick. We'll talk more about Esau. Malachi chapter 1. Malachi chapter 1, verses 1 to 4. I'm talking about Esau here. The one that changed the faces of the judges. The one who defiles everything, destroys everything. The burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh. Yet you say, wherein has loved us? Thou hast loved us. Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and I laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build and the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. It's a form of pride, if Yahweh himself is the one destroying your mountains, your governments, your systems, but the pride of Esau wants to continue pushing his legacy in the earth. But Yahweh is displeased with that. It goes on to say, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh will have indignation forever. That word indignation is not a good word. It means curse. It means disfavor, disliked, reproach. Yahweh has not favored Esau because from the beginning, Esau went off. He married, women outside of who he was supposed to marry. He went and married the Canaanites, and it pissed off his parents. We read that in Genesis. So from the beginning, you see how the Most High already knew that Esau was going to go off, and Esau continued his tyranny throughout the earth up until this age, but it's closing out rapidly. So in the book of Malachi, you see how it shows that Yahweh has favored Jacob, but not Esau. Esau pertains to a particular nation, a race group, right? Because in Rebekah's womb, it says that there is 2 nations in her womb, 2 manner of people. Although they are considered brothers, one is favored and one is not. The one that's ruling right now is not favored by Yahweh. Right? Let's go and talk about Jacob real quick. 2 Peter 3:11. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? Now we know that this current world is on its way out. It's going to be destroyed. Thus saith Yahweh power through prophecy. This is why the watchmen, the prophets, continue to exhort the sheep and keep a steady finger on the prophetic timeline of events, of things to change, so that way the flock is also paying attention and can make the necessary movements that Yahweh will require for you to receive salvation. Right? So what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, knowing that this current world's out? We want to be accepted, right? We want to be acceptable in the eyes of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, to gain entry into the kingdom to come. Abba Ratazah, Abba will. Looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Right, we're talking about nuclear war and ICBMs destroying the nation of Esau, Edom, into stubble. You can find that in Obadiah, verse 18. Right? And shall melt with fervent heat. When it says that the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, he's not talking about up in the sky and the clouds burning with fervent heat and being dissolved. He's talking about down here on earth, where is considered the kingdom of heaven. It should be established like heaven. We got the animal kingdom. We got all these vibrant types of foods and flowers, and we get to enjoy each other in righteousness, but we can't do that because it's established in wickedness. Everything is polluted. So he's going to burn it with fire and cleanse it. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, who's the promise that the promises was for? Jacob. Jacob is the promised seed. Look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot, with peace, which means you have no fear. Why you have no fear? Because you have a full understanding, a perfect understanding of what his will, his perfect will is, what it is for his followers, and how we should be conducting ourselves. Next phrase here, it says without spot, no sin, no leaven, proper mindset, proper spirit, wanting sinners to be removed. Because if you want this current world to continue on, you are in league and in federation with Esau, Edom, and his way of living. You want to continue on in his kingdom, but that's not the will of the Father. And blameless. You want to make sure that you're meek. Well, if you're already, if you have that character in you to be meek, you'll already be walking in that. So this is not something that you just put on. It's your character that was predestined for you to have from the beginning. And blameless, right? And blameless. This is the age of Jacob. The age of Jacob. We'll go back into we'll talk more about the age of Esau, right? He's on his way out. Isaiah chapter 24. Isaiah chapter 24, and we'll pick a bunch of verses from here. Isaiah chapter 24. Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down. So you can just imagine, this is the plane of the earth, a bunch of people on it, some righteous, very, very small amount righteous, and a bunch doing wickedness. And he says he turns it upside down, right? He turns it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. Now everybody's being separated. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest. As with the servant, so with his master. As with the maid, so with her mistress. And with the buyer, so with the seller. As with the lender, so with the borrower. And with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. So it's total stop. Full stop. I don't care what you people got going on. The Most High, when he steps foot, everything's going to stop. And he's going to put everything in its proper place. This is, he's going to start all over. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled. For Yahweh hath spoken this word. And the earth mourneth and fadeth away. And the world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The haughty people do languish. The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws. Change the ordinances. See, in this current age, they tell you, you don't have to keep his law, statutes, and commandments. They say, we're just giving grace and just be a good person and so on and so forth. Well, when we reflect and observe the commands, we're putting on righteous garments. We're putting on the mindset on how to behave, how to conduct, all these things, right? Because we're operating under the understanding of his ways and not the ways of the world. So he says the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. These are the false shepherds, those that rule over you and government bodies. Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore the curse devoureth the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned up, and few men left in it. The few men that are left in it is going to be the remnant, the elect, the priests, the sheep of his fold, the flock, right? And those, the 1/3 that will be attached to the elect. The curse that devoured the earth, right? Esau, Edom is likened to death. He is the curse that devoured the earth. We're going to talk more about Esau. We're going to go into Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, He is a proud man. He is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death. He's talking about Esau, Edom, is as death. Jacob right now is not in power. Otherwise, the world would be flourishing. And is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathers unto him all nations. He goes and pillages and conquers and steals countries and kidnaps presidents and do all these things. Those nation of people, the Most High Yahweh does not favor. He says, I hate them because they're not righteous. They will never be considered righteous. They were given the power of the sword. You know, that's their blessing. Military might, devising all kind of wickedness. You know, they heap up to them sinners. So it's easy to identify the wicked because they are locked in sync with his spirit. And heap it unto him all people, right? So right there, that verse tells you that Esau, Edom is as death. He's the only one with those characteristics that heap up to him all nations. He maketh the world drink from the cup of his iniquity, right? You know, partakers in his wicked systems, right? Let's go and talk more about Jacob. Let's go to Revelation chapter 21. Revelation 21. Revelation 21. Verses 1 to 4. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. So totally clean, right? That sea of people. No more. And I John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. That New Jerusalem is the bride, the priesthood. Once the priesthood is established, the Melchizedek priesthood, that is as heaven, as New Jerusalem coming down from heaven. The sons of God, the sons of Yahweh, that is New Jerusalem. Okay, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, because there is no third building being erected and established in righteousness. The new temple is the priesthood that is built within us, where they cannot destroy. It's built within us. The tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, and he will dwell with them. So the spirit of Yahweh, well, Yahweh Shai, is in the temple of the elect priesthood. And they shall be his people, and Yahweh himself shall be with them and be their power. Plain upon tables. Verse 4, and Yahweh shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. The old world is passed away. Esau's age is passed away. All that stuff that was in this current world that the Messiah did not die for is passed away, because this is the age of death, deception, lies, falsehood, false doctrines, wickedness, fornication, contention, wars, drugs, prostitution, pedo, done. None of that garbage. No mas. Right? Esau's age is out of here. We touched on earth given into the hand of the wicked. So I'll pause here and I'll go and grab from the Apocrypha, the book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 10. Yeah. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, and start at verse 4. Because we touched on Job, the hand is given, the world is given into the hand of the wicked, and he covers the faces of the judges thereof. And if not, who is he? We're talking about Esau, Edom. But the transference of that kingdom going out and into the new age, Jacob, Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and verse 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of Yahweh. He gives it to who he destines to give it to for his purposes, right? He has a reason for everything. He is not unjust. He's got all kinds of wisdom. The power of the earth is in the hand of Yahweh, and in due time, he will set over it one that is profitable. So in his time, he will usher in that age of righteousness established underneath the 12 tribes of Israel, after he has purposed to use Esau, Edom as the sword to separate the wheat from the tares, right? Because the tares are going to ultimately be gravitated to Esau, Edom, and his system, and sell their birthright unto him for what he has to offer unto them. We're going to stay within the same chapter of Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and go to verse 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Now we are in that transition of stepping away from the age of Esau, Edom, and moving into the age of Jacob or Jacob in righteousness. This world here is not good. People may believe that this is a great place and freedom and liberty and all kinds of abundant things for you to prolong your life, but it is disguised as that, but brings forth nothing but death. It brings nothing but death. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, jumping down to verse 14, it says, Yahweh hath cast down the thrones of proud princes and set up the meek in their stead. And Yahweh hath plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their place. And Yahweh overthrew countries of the heathens and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. Remember, we read in Isaiah chapter 25 that he's going to turn everything upside down and clean it out. We'll jump down a little bit. The fear of Yahweh goeth before obtaining of authority. If you don't fear the Most High Yahweh or Yahweh Shai and keep his words, keep his sayings, and instruct others to do so too, you're not put in a position of authority. Righteousness has to be established in that fashion. It says, the fear of Yahweh goeth before obtaining authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof. Wherefore, he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is the fear of Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Those that do not fear Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, have no understanding. None at all. They establish their understanding according to the course of this world, and it's not instructed by Yahweh himself. Right? We're going to go back, talk about Esau again. So, Revelation chapter 20, starting at verse 12 to 15, it says, And I saw the dead, small and great. That dead is the those that do not keep his ways. They're the congregation of the dead. They weren't brought back to life with his holy ruach, right? And there's all manner of ages that was not given the spirit of life to be brought back to life, right? He says, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahweh. The dead cannot stand. Once the dead is dead, the body goes in the grave. The spirit goes back to the Most High Yahweh. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahweh. And the books were opened. You have those that have no understanding, not keeping his ways. There is no God. I can live how I want. Those people, right? And those people, they have children. They're going to be the offspring of that person. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahweh. And the books were open, and the other books were opened. Right? So the books of your works and your deeds, and the book to see whether or not you are written in the book of life to go into the kingdom. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the book. So you are judged according to your works, written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. Right? So there's a full account of those who continue to live in wickedness, who go to establish their own righteousness and not according to the ways that was written therein for you to receive life. Right, so the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. I just said that. And the death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Now, when Esau age goes out, those that still have the program to be operating in that age is going to be cast out with him, right? Because this is the age of lawlessness, wickedness, deceitfulness, fornication, sickness, and war, and so on and so forth. Those that have that mindset that are in this matrix, you get cast into that lake of fire, and that is the second death. Why is that the second death? Because the first life was you receiving that breath. So when you were born, you didn't have no conscious or understanding of walking in righteousness. So as you were gravitated to this word and started keeping his ways, now the breath of life has entered into you for you to be awakened and quickened with the word and his understanding. So you're born in darkness, you receive light and the breath of life, that first coming alive. And now when you start putting on understanding and keeping his ways, now you will be judged according to your works, right? Because you have to come out of your wickedness, repent, and wash yourself of iniquity that's being reformed and refreshed into the new life. And then you're going to be ultimately judged on how you carry yourself from that point forward, whether or not you receive life everlasting or you receive a second death. The second death, the first death is you not having any understanding of how to bring forth life according to his word. But now you will be judged by the second go around, in which you don't want to be cast into the lake of fire. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So in the book of life, it says, okay, well, this person started keeping the law, statute, commandments, the Sabbath. They stopped eating the filthiness, and they went around exhorting, rebuking, and repenting, and praying, and fasting. And I find them acceptable in my sight. Well done, good, faithful servant. You can go. You, however, you said this and this, and it was posted on your Instagram, and it was this and this, and you said this and that. And let's continue. 2nd Ezra chapter 6. 2nd Ezra chapter 6. And verse 8. It says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. As they were coming out of the womb, right? Esau came first, and Jacob latched onto his heel. So it shows that Esau, from head to heel, that's his age, and the transition coming back out of the womb, that rebirth, being born, Jacob being born, he held on to the heel of Esau and is ushered in the new age. The new age. Verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So we're going into the age of righteousness, the age of Jacob, right? Yaquab, established under the headship of Yahushua, our Savior, our Messiah, who will be resurrected and put into full power and reign over the 12 tribes of Israel with and alongside his priests, 144,000 judges. We'll jump back a chapter into 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and at 16. 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and 16, it says, and unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau, and put by Esau. And so Jacob became a great multitude. Jacob is going to be, again, that great multitude. And Esau was put by Esau. He supplanted him, right? It was his ultimate destiny to come into power, because the Most High, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, already knew that this vessel was going to be used for a vessel of dishonor, and ultimately be the way to usher in righteousness, right? We'll go to 2nd Ezra chapter 7. Boop. Chapter 7 and 43. It says, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. The day of doom is the end of Esau's reign, which is going to be utterly put out by nuclear armaments and war and so on and so forth, right? We're going to jump up in the same chapter here, 33. We're still talking about the age of Jacob. And the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and misery shall pass away, and the long suffering shall have an end. No more building debt. You won't have debt. You won't have these school loans. You won't have all these bills piled up on yourself to where you have to go out and spend all your live long days doing something that you weren't programmed to do, and living in a way that is not profitable and doesn't bring forth life. But judgments only shall remain, truth shall stand, and faith shall wax strong. And the work that shall follow, and the reward shall be showed, and the good deeds shall be of force, and wicked deeds shall bear no rule. No more wickedness, no more unrighteousness, right? Because the age of righteousness is going to be purity and keeping of the commandments, and brings forth life abundant, right? We'll jump back to chapter 6 and 20. Grab verse 28. 6 and 28. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which hath been so long without fruit shall be declared. Right, because the seals were locked up, closed up, until one who was worthy to open up the seals out of the book, which was Yahweh Shai, and then Yahweh Shai's spirit, the Messiah, is then distributed among the men. We're eating that bread, drinking the wine, drinking his blood, eating the flesh. This is partaking in his sufferings and getting the wisdom and knowledge and understanding in that ointment, the oil, to deliver the sound understanding in righteousness and truth, right? As to where others weren't given that ability, right? Not everybody can unlock the seals, because the seals have been locked up until the time of the end. That understanding of the Bible in Esau's age was not sound doctrine. It was confusion and folly, and bring forth no righteousness or edification. Those that continue to call on other deities, those are the deities that are in this fallen world, right? The gods of this world, because the Most High Yahweh Shai is going to come back and destroy and dismantle all the false gods that people continue to stand on and call on and pray in the name of, so on and so forth. Yahweh Shai is going to destroy it. And his elect men, the priests, are going to put forth each brick to build that house of David, the same, to build the kingdom up in righteousness. So I pray this was edifying. Until the next time, Shalom.